G'day, Geoff Lewis here from Seriously Series, and welcome to another episode of Landy Talk. Here today we're going to be chatting to a team that is a little bit different to the other personalities and entities that we've had a chat to in the previous episodes of this series. Unlike the other adventurers we've spoken to, they aren't bound to the confines of one country, not even to one continent. They've travelled the length and breadth of this globe, opening up to us, the viewer, some of the lesser known parts. Who are they? What are they about? That is what we're going to delve into in this episode of Landy Talk as we chat to the team that is Leigh and Steph from GrizzlyNbear Overland. If you want to watch more videos like this, then you know exactly what to do. Click on that subscribe button down below, click on that notification button too, but most importantly, stay tuned.
Oh, you get a big warning. This meeting is being recorded.
Yeah.
That's to stop people spying on you, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so. Those secret
Naughty
listeners. Well, everyone, welcome to another episode of Landy Talk. And today, none other than GrizzlyNbear Overland, Leigh and Steph. Thank you very much for joining us here today.
You're welcome. Thank
we're
you.
We're honoured to be here. Yeah, thanks for having us.
No worries. The honour's all ours. So I guess we'll just dive straight into it pretty much. And I guess, first of all, would you mind telling the audience a little bit about what is GrizzlyNbear Overland and sort of a bit of a brief rundown as to how your channel is so unique, so magical and so awesome?
GrizzlyNbear Overland. Grizzly, it's the model of our four-wheel camper. And Bear, it's our beloved Land Rover Defender 130. So Grizzly and Bear and Overland, because this is what we do. We are overlanders. We are traveling around the world with this vehicle, and we've been doing that since 2017.
Wow. And so your videos sort of document day to day, week to week, where you're going and what you're doing?
Exactly. So we have a weekly video on a Friday that we release, and it's like a journal where we document adventures, and it can be anything, but we like to base our videos on the culture of the places we're going to, on the vehicle, a bit of off-road, but it's not crazy off-road action because we are overlanders. We're not.
It's our house. It's our house. We're going to enjoy our house. And Grizzly and Bear as well. If people are not sure, Grizzly is in Australia, they call them a slide-on camper. In the US, they're called a truck camper. And that's why we've got Grizzly and Bear. But Grizzly can actually be removed from Bear. So it's a camper that goes on the back of the ute, which is pretty good for our style of travel.
Oh, it's great. You got untold flexibility, don't you?
Yes, yeah. We certainly do. And we got to keep our Land Rover in its standard form. Basically, it's heavily modified, but we never actually had to cut the Defender or chop a roof or anything like that. We can remove our camper, and we've got the Land Rover Defender 130 essentially still in its in its pure or close to pure form, which is pretty cool. I was never a fan of sort of doing any major body modifications to the Defender itself. Not at this stage anyway. Maybe one day.
Maybe one day.
If we ever get bored enough.
So I guess, this thirst for travel and all the rest, where did this sort of come from? Is that the primary driving force for the channel?
Definitely. Yeah, I don't think we would. I mean, we try. I think a lot of times we get classed as a Land Rover sort of based channel or a Land Rover Defender channel, but we'd prefer to just be known as more of a travel channel, or overland, I guess, making travel videos, overland videos. But I always say that my mum, as a young kid, encouraged both my brother and myself to travel from a very young age. She was a big traveler herself. What about you, Frenchie?
Yes, for me too. We've been very fortunate to be able to travel from a young age, but in a different way. I would say when I was a kid, I traveled with a caravan with my parents, and then in 2009, I went for my first backpacking experience in Thailand, and this is where I met Leigh. And since that day, we just kept on traveling together and pushing the adventure further.
We met whilst traveling, so
Yeah.
it was destined to be.
That's
And we love
brilliant.
to travel with our own vehicle because you are not restricted. You can go anywhere. You can go to places that tourists don't go. Like you can go to places where there is no buses or no train, and you really immerse yourself in the culture of the places you visit.
And let's be honest, the backpack gets a little bit old after a
Yeah.
few weeks, doesn't
Oh,
it? Yeah.
Backpacking public transport after a little. I did it in my early 20s around Europe, and yeah, it's all fun for a couple of months, and then it certainly does wear a bit thin.
You need a bit more. Now,
Yeah,
you
that's right.
guys have traveled to a lot of different countries. How many countries have you actually traveled to, would you say?
So, with the vehicle?
With the vehicle? Yeah.
With this one, 36 countries.
And you've done that in
Traveled to
4 or 5 years? Is that correct?
Yes.
5 years, coming on
Yeah,
5 years now.
But that's including with the circumstance of pandemic, and so that really slowed us down. We stayed 1 year in Japan, where before that we would just go faster into countries. A visa is 1 month, we'll do 1 month next country, 1 month next country. And with the pandemic, we stayed in Japan for an entire year. And this taught us how to slow down and really explore a country properly. Take our time.
Yeah, we sort of had no choice, I guess. We were very lucky. We count ourselves super fortunate to have been stuck in Japan for all of 2020, because we did get to keep traveling essentially. Like we were quite lucky in that country. As opposed to a lot of other countries we've got friends, they had to stop their overland journey, ship their vehicles home,
Abandoned.
leave them behind.
Yeah.
A lot of bad stuff happened, but we just, it wasn't luck. I mean, we made the choice to be in Japan, but we were lucky. We were lucky to be in that country. Could have been a lot worse. It was all right.
So 1 year, a whole year in Japan, then 6 months in Taiwan. But Taiwan is a fairly small place. But in 6 months, we didn't even scratch the surface of the things to see. And now also coming up to 1 year in Australia.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
wow.
we've slowed down a lot compared to...
We did slow down. Essentially, we started in Paris. That was our starting point, where Steffi's from 5 years ago. We drove south through Spain, and then we went across to Morocco, back to Portugal, and then we went back to France and sort of just made our way east through Eastern Europe, Turkey. We went to Georgia, Armenia, Azerbaijan. We took a ship across the Caspian Sea and arrived at Kazakhstan, and then spent a good couple of years exploring all of the Stan countries of Central Asia. Beautiful place in the world.
Wonderful.
Yeah. That would have
Very
been incredible.
unpainted.
Yeah.
Overlander's dream over there.
Yeah.
And then continued over to the east. We went through Mongolia and then to Eastern Russia, where we took a ferry to South Korea, and then from South Korea to Japan, where we were just speaking about before. So all of that in 5 years. I think we're traveling at a good pace.
Oh, definitely. And I know you brought up the pandemic earlier, but still 37 countries, that's a solid effort either way. You know, even if you did that over 10 years, that's a
Exactly.
effort. Yeah.
We're doing all right. And we got
But
No-
that's just the beginning.
Yeah, no plan to stop or settle down anytime soon. If we can keep going, we will. If we've got the, you know, you never know what can happen. Anything can happen. But at this moment in time, we want to keep doing this for as long as we possibly can.
Oh,
You
definitely.
too. That's good. That's handy. Imagine if she said, nah.
Well, that'd be a real twist for this chat.
That would have
wouldn't
been a big twist. Yeah, she said, no, I've had enough. I want to sell the car. That's it.
No,
it?
yeah, I will die in that car. This is my home forever. This is my retirement home.
Oh, yeah. It's your house and your retirement house. That's all right. And when you can't drive, you can still live in it. Just
Yeah.
park it up on a block somewhere.
Got everything you need. So I
Exactly.
guess with your current lifestyle that you've got, is there a particular element of it, or a couple particular elements of it, that really sum up your sort of thirst for travel? Is it sort of the places, the people, or the experience?
Well, definitely the people.
Yeah.
We always
agree.
We really enjoy nature, and we do a lot of hiking, rock climbing. We love the outdoors activities. But yes, it's always, when you think of a place, the best memories, it always comes back about a person,
Yeah.
about the person, the
People's
people.
faces. It's it really is like we've, you know, and we're absolutely appreciate. We've seen a lot of beautiful places in all of these years of overland travel, and you know, I never ever once am ungrateful to be in beautiful natural surroundings. But when we think back, like Steffi mentioned, always the people that
Yeah.
we that bring back those memories. You picture their faces, and that's what's the memory of that country. I don't think of Kyrgyzstan and think about those beautiful snow-capped mountains and turquoise lakes and all that. Like they're there in my memory. But when I think about it, I'm thinking about Nikolai and all of the friends and close people we met along that journey. And then the other memories come with that, you know, but it's the people that leave the lasting impressions, that's for
Yeah.
sure.
And the food a little bit too.
Oh yeah, food's up there. Yeah.
We had a good feed. So
Yeah, you remember a good feed, that's
Yeah.
for sure.
Well, I do like your videos, because there's always a little croissant that pops in there from time to time. You know?
they're hard to find a good one.
Oh, a good one, I'm sure. Even
Oh,
harder.
She's got high standards though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not bad. And
No.
Great. But as you've described, you know, the experiences, that's one of the great things about overlanding and the way in which you're doing it. You have so much opportunity to integrate with, you know, the people that live there, rather than someone flying in, staying in a hotel. You're so cut off from, you know.
Yeah.
That's
So it just makes it so
exactly
special what you're doing. Yeah, definitely.
I love
It does, yeah.
Mm.
Oh yeah.
we
Yeah.
love get a very distinct memory was I think we were in Uzbekistan, and I think the GPS did something funny, and we ended up in a village. We weren't lost, but almost lost. And then I was like, oh, there's a market. Just stop. Okay, we stopped, and we had the best time in that market.
Yeah.
Like it was no tourists. It was like a small local market where no tourist goes, and everybody was like smiling at us and giving us things to try, and
We were walking, it was really
surreal, really surreal.
It was an incredible experience, yeah, because it definitely was a locals only. They call them a bazaar, you know. It was an open bazaar, everything being sold there, and real Uzbek, you know, culture, clothing, everything traditional. And we went in. Steffi had the big camera, you know, so we're wandering around, and a couple of Westerners in the market that doesn't usually see any sort of outsiders in this little village. They went wild, and they were loving it, and the atmosphere was so cool, because they all wanted to jump in front of the camera. So we just had this incredible interaction for the day, and they're loading us up with all these goodies and snacks and
breads and
just everywhere.
Wow.
And even where we went for lunch, and a couple of old fellas sitting at the next table wanted me to get on the vodkas with them. So next thing, and when they drink vodka in Central Asia, they've got Russian blood in there as well, you know. So they drink vodka, and it's big glasses of it. They just give you glasses of straight vodka, and
Wow.
I was like, oh no, I can't do that. And this is lunchtime.
And,
Wow.
It was an incredible day, you know, that we stayed in there for a long time.
Yeah.
We didn't want to leave, and that's, yeah, you know, if a tour bus doesn't want to take you there, or a lot of times, you know, I'm not going to knock an organized tour. Some people prefer to do them, and there's always each to their own, and some of them are really good, but a lot of times they're going to take you on the tour bus, and we've experienced it a few times where the tour bus is taking you to the friend of the tour bus's shop or market, where it's all organized. Everybody knows that. And, you know, whereas just rocking up in your own vehicle, parking in the car park and wandering into this market because it looks cool is an experience that's, I think can be quite unique to backpacking, I guess, and overlanding.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And it's a true authentic experience, you know, nothing.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Now I guess we're reaching the point we've discussed what you do and what's the driving force, but what actually drives you around? It's not just any vehicle, is it? It's a very Land Rover.
Very special vehicle.
Yeah, the car that can.
That's right, exactly. So it's a 2010 Land Rover Defender 130 ute with the four-wheel camper, which is a removable truck camper, like we mentioned earlier, made by a company called Four Wheel Campers, and they're in California. And we've modified both a lot. The Land Rover Defender, like I mentioned, still without the camper, it's still in sort of basic form, but we did a lot of engine upgrades. We got a bigger turbo, intercooler, sort of chunked out the tires a bit. We've got a lift kit and front protection. It's beefed up pretty nicely.
Yeah. And with the motor in that, is it the 2.2 litre? Is that correct?
We've got the 2.4 litre.
Oh, 2.4. Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah, it's the one before the 2.2. Yeah, it's all right. You know, you get a lot of Land Rover purists that still they don't believe it's a real Land Rover because it's not a Land Rover engine, you know, but you'll always get that. I remember meeting guys that had 200T, probably yourself with this series, you know, like, and everybody's got their own little thing, but I still like it, and the engine, I believe, is a reliable engine. So.
And it also all comes down to maintenance.
Yes, that's true.
Just about is like oil filters, all these filters, oil change and air filter, and
they are
tire rotation. And
it is, when you're dealing with a Land Rover, as all the Landy people know, you know, they're temperamental beasts, and they do require a lot of love and attention, but that's also what makes them special. I think that's also what makes a Land Rover something it is unique, you know, and you have this love-hate relationship with your Landy, you know. There's always, you know very well, there's always something that needs to be fixed. Like
always a new noise.
Yeah, or new noises. We get paranoid unless we figure out what that new noise is, you know. I can't.
You're like,
got my head hanging out the window. I'm like, that comes down to the maintenance, because if you're on top of it, you don't just turn the music up and although we do that sometimes, you know, and say, don't worry about that noise. You need to know what it is, because if it's a change in a noise, then probably you need to get onto it and fix it.
Oh, definitely.
So yeah, but overall, mate, like 5 years in the Landy now, and we've had countless minor maintenance issues, but I think that's to be expected in any type of vehicle that you choose to drive around the world in. You know, it's experiencing everything from extreme cold. We've had this thing in -20, and then all the way to 40+ degrees. You know, we've had it in snow and ice and rocks and mud, and when you're treating any sort of piece of machinery like that, it needs to be maintained. So
sure.
But I wouldn't do it in anything else, that's for sure.
Oh, no. And I think from watching your videos, having the Land Rover has actually been quite an asset in some situations.
Yes, it's really the Land Rover community throughout the world is absolutely brilliant. Some they fanatics really.
Yeah.
We always get in touch with the Land Rover communities, whether it be in Mongolia. I think in Mongolia there is maybe max of 20 Land Rovers.
Yeah,
Or defenders,
defenders.
Yeah.
and we caught up with 5 of them out of
Wow.
in the entire country. It's a really, but same with you, you know. It's
Yeah.
like really the connection you have with people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a part. Well, it is, and not even organized ones. You know, like we've had times, and one just happened recently in a little town called Burke in outback New South Wales here, where you may not haven't even organized a Land Rover meetup, but you drive past another one on the road and you wait. Well, it happened with us
Yes,
when we met
true.
Geoff twice, because we saw your car in a car park at Bunnings in Kalgoorlie, and then we just happened to be on the side of the road as you drove past, and you drove in to say good day. So that's the type of thing. Like, I drove a Toyota for 10 years. Not that I'm knocking Toyotas, but I sort of am.
No.
And I never waved to another Toyota Land Cruiser. I never felt the need to. Just there was not that same connection, I don't think, and it's a very special thing with Land Rover owners, and especially the older ones, the series, and then Defenders and the Discos. It's a community, a family almost.
Family, yes.
And it's almost like having a bit of a almost roadside assistant insurance policy too. You know, if anything goes wrong, you know, they're there to help you out, or your alternator's gone, old mate has a spare one, you know.
Oh, absolutely.
All the time. And the Facebook groups also very helpful. Like, if anything, you need a little part or something, goes both ways. Like
they look after you, they recommend you to the best mechanics, they take you to them. Everybody out of their way. And we've, well, not in every country, but in a lot of countries that we've traveled through now, we have connected with the local Land Rover clubs, clubs or communities or whatever it may be. Some have got bigger ones. Japan had quite a large community.
Sometimes we receive messages and it's someone that with a Defender in such or such a country, and they message us, they say, "Oh, do you happen to know a mechanic for the Defender in such a place?"
Oh,
yes, we do.
It just happened yesterday. On Instagram, we got a message from someone that we'd talked to them before, and I wasn't quite sure where they were at in their journey, but he messaged me and he said, you know, we've never met this person. This is just a social media friend. And we get this message. He's like, "Oh, guys, you wouldn't be able to help us out. We've got some trouble with the Defender. We're on our way we're driving to the city of Almaty in Kazakhstan." So this is yesterday. I seem to remember from one of your videos that you guys had a good mechanic in that city. And I'm like, all right, yep, give us 5 minutes. So I jump and start using the Overlander app and what I could remember of where the mechanics was. I ended up finding his business card, a photo of it, and the address, sent it through to them. So, you know, I now know that they're taking their Land Rover to a good shop in Kazakhstan. But just that sharing of information is pretty cool, I think.
Oh, definitely.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that was cool. Yeah. So I'm like, I said, say hi to him for us, you know, like, just so cool knowing that some friends of ours are taking their Land Rover Defender to the same garage that we took ours to in Kazakhstan 3 years ago, and they're going to be there tomorrow, you know.
Oh, wow. And you find parts.
Yeah.
A friend in Canada.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
In Australia.
Yeah.
So many cool stories like that. It's a good community.
Oh, definitely. And so where did the fixation start with Land Rovers for both of you? I guess, Steph, you've kind of been dragged into it with no choice.
Well, it started with us both, actually. Like, me, when I was a kid, I can still distinctly remember seeing a 90, a short wheelbase, probably a TD5 or something at the time, silver 90 Defender in a car park in Fremantle. And I can't remember how old I was, but I guess a kid, you know, and all kids are attracted to Defenders. I mean, they're just that cool looking off-road utility, square box shape. And I remember looking at it and just falling in love with it. But when it came time for me to get my license, I can't remember if I'd just forgotten about that childhood sort of buzz, or I probably couldn't afford one to start with for my first car. But yeah, I never ended up getting one. And then we moved to Europe about 8 years ago, and we needed to buy a car when we moved over there because we were moving there full time. I started looking on European just Auto Trader type websites. And I'm scrolling through and I see this Defender 90 short wheelbase TD5. And I thought, oh, wow. I was earning a little bit better money then, and they were actually a little bit more affordable at the time, not anymore.
Yeah, in Europe.
In Europe. So I saw this one in Italy and I'm like, stuff it. I'm going to realize that childhood dream. I'm going to buy that Defender. So we bought that Defender 90 without even seeing it, just bought it online.
From Italy.
Wow.
Organized it all. It was actually funny because I had to use the service of a vehicle importer, a company that imports vehicle from Italy to France, but they are used to do with like Ferrari, Lamborghini, those luxury or Italian cars.
Yeah.
And then he's driving a Defender from Italy back to France, and he wasn't impressed.
No,
It wasn't a great day for him.
He says this thing's horrible. He said, because like we never met the guy, but we through the emails, it was really funny. I'll never, because it had when we bought it, the guy had been using it for a little bit of off-road, like heavy duty off-road, bit of competition and that. And I think it had like 37-inch tires on it, the big trepidors, you know, like, so the extremely aggressive. And this poor guy had to drive it like 700 kilometers from Italy all the way to Paris, and it was rough and noisy.
He hated it.
And he's usually driving Ferraris, Lamborghinis, and, you know, all the other fancy Italian cars. So that was a good experience for him, I feel. Character building stuff. But I think so that was when it all began. Yeah, we got that 90, but it still took us a while, you know, like we were Defender owners now. We were Land Rover owners, but we hadn't learned yet about
the community
and that was the beginning, you know, that came later. Like I can remember people waving to us and mean, what's that bloke waving at, you know, not even realizing that he's waving. And then I'm clicking, I'm going, hang on, he's got a Defender as well, you know, and like, they seem to be waving to each other. What's the deal there, you know? And then we that all sort of came over time, and
then parking rule apply, and
all the etiquette.
All the etiquette. We broke the rules a few times, I will admit, but now definitely not anymore.
Way of life.
It is a way of life. No, there's no doubt about it.
Yeah, definitely. So I guess sort of starting to wrap up, what would you say is the most remarkable and difficult situation that you found yourselves in with all your travels? There's obviously been quite a few.
So, remarkable, or like what really stands out the most for both of us is Afghanistan. When we entered Afghanistan with our own vehicle, which is pretty rare thing to do.
Big deal.
And we
was a big deal,
the best experience ever. So that was really remarkable. The beauty of the place, very untouched, those mountains, and just very absolutely incredible. And the people were absolutely lovely and amazing, and
just a beautiful experience from start to finish. I would say that's been the highlight of our, like, as far as everything, I don't know, it's hard to choose. There's no highlight, I guess. The whole thing has been one big highlight and adventure. But Afghanistan was an incredible adventure, and the people just phenomenally friendly and hospitable. Yeah.
And the most challenging and difficult was a river crossing that went wrong in Mongolia.
Oh, wow.
Episode 100, easy to remember. And
definitely the most challenging and probably scary moment was we tried to cross a frozen river in the evening with our vehicle, obviously, drive across it, about a 10-meter wide river. And about halfway across, we heard the crack of the ice start to go. And then the ice broke and the defender fell through into the river. Thankfully, it was only about 1 meter deep and we sort of sat on the ice, but we were stuck.
And then getting bogged, like try to get out, and we just dig ourselves. So the chassis was resting on the riverbed, and you had ice and then icy water. Leigh had his leg in like
so
waist
cold.
deep. Oh, it was hot.
A crazy experience. But yeah,
Nighttime, very isolated, and
we were stuck for about 6 hours before we were rescued by the foremost incredible and tough
strong.
Mongolian blokes I've ever met in my
Very
life.
strong.
So yeah, those were a couple of big experiences along the way.
So how did they get you out of it? Out of the boat?
Well,
They pull it.
yeah, they put that. In the end, they sort of just helped pull, but essentially what they did, what had happened was the car had fallen through, and all 4 tires had actually landed on ice. You know, so what we needed to do, I didn't know. I'm from Western Australia. I didn't have any frozen river crossing experience from my younger days, you know, so this was all new to me. But we used a combination of all different types of things. I had a lot of recovery gear. I had an exhaust jack, which I was really surprised to see handled the cold. I didn't think it would inflate, but it did. An exhaust jack. We even used the camper legs that lift the camper off. They're good. They're good for a ton each. Not the best practice, but we would try anything, you know.
Yeah.
Tried to lift the car up, and then we put the spare tires in the water, and the guys had some really long wooden poles, and they used them as levering poles against the spare tire in the water to try and lift each tire individually and remove the ice block, because you couldn't get traction on the ice. There was no trees in Mongolia, not in this region, nothing to winch off. Ground was like rock. I couldn't dig a sand anchor. So anyway, that's what we did. Removed all of the ice from under the tires, finally got it back on sort of mud. And then with them pulling on the winch, these 4 massive dudes, I'll never forget it. They pulled us out of the water at about 11 p.m. maybe, and minus 20 degrees.
Crazy.
Wow. That is incredible. That is incredible.
It was amazing. Great adventure.
Yeah.
Episode 100.
So we're slowly running out of time here, sadly.
Yeah, I see that. I see the little thing.
So where can people find out more about your adventures?
So GrizzlyNbear Overland on YouTube and Instagram and
Facebook as well. We've got the same,
But so, Grizzly with an N, Bear Overland.
No worries. We'll be sure to put a link up above, and
thank you very much.
Details in the content section down below. And thank you very, very much.
Oh, mate, pleasure. Thank you. It's been an honor.
Awesome. We'll catch you later on.
See you in Tasmania.
Yeah, maybe in Tassie. Who knows?